Great. His name's just gonna come up in all question marks.
Question.
Also, one sec, guys. I've goofed up here on the overlay as well. Yeah, I'm nailing this today. All right, real quick to understand, this guy is a random player. Do you want to explain it real quick while I try and get something on the overlay for him?
Sure, yeah. I remembered that when I went into this game. Yeah, in the bottom right, as the purple Zerg, it is Balloon.
No, don't introduce him. Oh man, son of a grub.
For MyuNgSiK, and I don't know why he's still on an NEX account. That's interesting, but he is a random player. He's always been a random player, as far as I know. He's actually a pretty decent one. I forget which one he's best with and which one he's worst, but even if I remembered, that would have been Heart of the Swarm.
Terran, he's best with Terran.
Is that still true?
Well, that's what it was. Sorry. I'm still trying to fix it. Okay, there we go. This is Balloon. That's the best it's going to get, guys. All right. In the top left, his opponent. This guy's actually quite interesting that he's shown up today, but also not at the same time. I'll explain that in a moment. It is going to be SKT1's, excuse me, MyuNgSiK.
Amazing explanation.
So MyuNgSiK has played in the Olimoleague for a very long time. He's been missing recently and more recently, and one of the things we've covered on the stream, as we've unfortunately learned, is a lot of the bigger teams in Korea don't want their players playing. Not that the players don't want to, but the teams say this is, beneath us, essentially. And there's actually some reasoning to it that makes more sense than me just being snooty-tooty about it, but unfortunately, it does also mean that players like MyuNgSiK, typically, who used to play all the time, stopped playing, and we assumed it was because the teams maybe said otherwise. We do once in a blue moon have somebody like Maru show up, or MyuNgSiK, or Solar, and I guess there's probably a little bit of, I'm imagining, leeway where teams are not like, okay, well, you know what, you're off the team if you play, but they're probably still like, hey, maybe don't play, but if you do, we're not going to exactly kill your family.
Oh, well, that's good news.
Yeah.
The bare minimum for me, not killing me.
It is nice to see MyuNgSiK come out and play. It's been a while, and I've certainly missed his Phoenix builds.
Yeah, the last time we saw him, I guess he was on his previous team, and he did try and use Phoenix Colossus against Terran. It did not work, although it wasn't as bad as we thought it was going to be. Because that was back when Colossus were considered, just obsolete units, like they're never going to be used again. But still, it was a little different, as he usually does play. And I don't know about his PvZ. That's always been pretty standard, but still Phoenix centered. Just that Phoenix were more common.
Alright, so that code still doesn't come in, by the way. Would you mind re-requesting it, just to be safe? Also, worth noting, we talked Zombie talked a little bit about Balloon. Again, a random player. We don't know where he is in Legacy of the Void. Maybe his best race now is Zerg. I mean, Zerg got buffed to hell, and people are hating this matchup for various different reasons. But for Balloon, what I was always impressed with was he could take a game off of anyone with any race, but he would never necessarily win a series in that same situation. So I'm assuming, again, it hasn't changed too much going to Legacy, and that's kind of where my hopes lie for him here against MyuNgSiK. Because I think MyuNgSiK is going to be objectively the better player, no matter how we look at this.
As far as it goes, thanks for the 13-month resub, and Flesrudalik, thanks for the 23-month resub.
Ooh.
Impressive.
His name's
so
as far as it
Rings...
goes. I thought this was like sort of transition.
Oh, no, his name was as far as it goes.
This is a huge pick off with that pylon, by the way. The supply block's going to hurt, too.
Yeah, not just a supply block, but stopped right before another Adept pops out, and Warp Gate, so it delays that a little while longer. It's pretty nice. We do have Balloon, though, going for a lot more Lings, like a Ling all-in on Ruins. Cross spawn is not like a bad idea, but it is a little risky.
It's like Poucho tactics. The Phoenix are unfortunately quite useless in this scenario, as they are just kind of stuck there. Ling's just saying screw it, fighting within the range of the overcharge, and I guess when you've got this many Lings, it doesn't matter if you bleed out a couple, but that was quite a few Lings to lose. In fact, already up to 28 lost, but he's still continuing. That flood of purple comes across that map. I would love to have seen it, I know this Phoenix in play, but like an Overlord drop or something. MyuNgSiK doesn't have that wall. We've talked about this before. Adepts are so bad at plugging holes compared to Zealots for some reason.
Yeah, that's true. That was definitely MyuNgSiK's fault, though. Like, they were not actually
No, they weren't. I'm just saying, like, it's so silly to watch that
wow.
happen. GG. Wow. I can't believe that worked, but in game number 1 of this best of 3, Balloon takes the first game.
It was certainly a good call against someone who knew was going to go Phoenixes. As you said, Phoenixes just do not help out against mass Lings very much.
I'm curious why he didn't try and pump out an Oracle, though. I mean, okay, your first Phoenix is out. You think nothing of it, you just keep making another one. Second Phoenix out, okay, but why not make your third thing an Oracle and shut all that down?
Anything to help, but he probably thought that he had it on lockdown. There's the wall's already down. I have a secondary wall set up, and I'll just put the adepts. Oh no!
Have you seen this thing Harsum just tweeted, by the way, about I guess the brackets for Shanghai? I can put this on stream.
I'm looking at it. I don't get the.
Look at his name. Like, how do you
like? It's like full of Hearthstone.
Here's Steam. The best part is like everyone else's is like right. But Harsum's name is not hard to pronounce or read or write, but they still fucked it up.
Amazing.
That's unfortunate. I love Harsum, so that kind of sucks for him. But anyways, loser's pick. We're gonna hop into Dust Towers for game 2, and I guess we'll just join off them. It's fine, whatever. Stupid. No, like we want to make the lobby or anything. God.
No, I asked them for the map, and they're like, no, JK.
It's all good. All right, so Balloon is up 1-0 currently. We're not going to have really cool Game Heart stuff for this one. All right, so they've swapped on the overlay. Now I got to do text stuff. Title T. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we are in game number 2 in this best of 3, and you'll notice, one of the players' races has changed. Again, remind you that the purple player in this instance, Balloon, does play random. However, spawning the bottom left, consistently going Protoss, it is the red player, MyuNgSiK.
In the top right, as the now purple Terran, he is Balloon.
So this starts getting too much into just pure speculation when it comes to team politics. But I have to imagine there's going to be some degree of like shame if MyuNgSiK were to lose in the first round of the tournament to somebody like Balloon. Again, not that Balloon's bad, but he's a random player who is not really playing. He's only just coming back from like a semi-retirement type situation. So MyuNgSiK's like, you lose to that, I don't think your first pick on the roster anymore for the next Pro League. You know what I'm saying?
That would suck that he he risks, I don't know how much, but something here to actually play in the Olimoleague. But, the worst is that he's going to get like a stern talking to. But actually, he loses in the first round against a random player, so he gets more instant talking to. He's off the bench for, the next 2 Pro League matches. That would be, the worst case bad luck Brian scenario.
Wouldn't he be on the bench? Because if you're off the bench, aren't you playing?
Usually on the bench means, you're not playing right now, but at least you could be. But I don't know. In Pro League, you're on a bench for most of the game, most of the time.
All right, I'm not gonna go. I got the code, by the way. Do you have the thing open up? By the way, finally came through.
Oh yeah.
Okay, are you ready, guys? Please don't hack us when you hear this. All right. 9737172. I'm getting really sick of 2-factor authentication, but I'm really glad it keeps the account safe.
What?
No?
What?
Was it no good?
Well, I pressed the button, and I guess because I was waiting for so long, it just sent me back to the login screen.
Oh, well, I got another new one. Here we go. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Why don't these guys ever talk about the game? Well, because we're just trying to log in. Shut up. All right, 1978099. Did it work? Did we do it, fam?
It worked.
Okay, cool. So, MyuNgSiK, by the way, I'm not sure if he was planning to do this blindly, but he did have to scout his opponent and see what his race was going to be first. So he did confirm it was Terran. He got good eyes on the base, checked to see what was going on, and plans to have the proxy Stargate. Now, this is, a little bit dangerous, and absolutely. It's not exactly game-ending either. This is not what it used to be, and Terran has so much more to work with. There should be more than enough Marines to protect the mineral line. It is a one-base build out of Balloon.
Yeah.
There's just so many things here that say, MyuNgSiK, your Oracle, unless he catches him leaving the base, MyuNgSiK really shouldn't get much done here.
Yeah, that's true, but the scouting is really important. I mean, you can see that it's one base, but not that he has, actually. Dust Towers hid this kind of okay. Seeing the second supply depot as fast as he did with the probe scout might tell him a little bit, but this is going to confirm. But even if you know it's a one base build, you don't know what type it is. And I actually see that's going to be Banshee is not the common 1/1/1 we've seen, so
I like
Oracle
this.
does have quite a job.
So I really like the Banshee because, well, I did this recently versus Jesse on stream, but secondly, the Phoenix will work out pretty well against this, actually. Banshee's a light unit, so it's not often appreciated how quickly it goes down, but a Phoenix can tear it apart.
Mm-hmm.
It will require detection, though, and that's where the Oracle becomes quite important, not to lose. So bringing that back home with the Phoenix, good moves.
Yeah, and the Banshee should just be shut down automatically, and that's too bad for Balloon here, who's looking like he's going to go for like a one-base push. So I was like questioning the addition of the second barracks and actually bothering to get stim.
So here's the question / problem, though, right? Like, the Banshee should get shut down. That much I agree with. But I don't think it's the Banshee that's actually going to be the really powerful thing here. It's like this tank, this stim timing. I mean, there's not going to be a medevac with this, so there's going to be just like a sheer amount of raw force where he's not trying to trade, he's just trying to get in there and do as much damage as possible. And when you go for any sort of Stargate opener, Phoenix or otherwise, you're lacking ground support. And the Oracle, because it built the stasis ward, it doesn't have protection for the Banshee.
I don't know why it would... That was certainly questionable. He knew it was a Banshee, and yet he built not only like the stasis ward, but the stasis ward in like a really questionable area too. Like basically when it's coming up the ramp. But if it's going to be tank based, then I don't know if Marines are actually going to trigger that as well as you would hope.
He's killing 14 probes already. I was going to comment though, you know what? He didn't see the full scope of the base on the left side. He saw the tech lab, and as dumb as it might be, because it is more typical than Banshees, he may have thought it was something to do with Liberators. Maybe some fast range or something, and that's why the emphasis on the Phoenix, less on detection. I don't know, but either way, that Banshee got 13 kills, Zombie Grub. This thing was supposed to get shut down and do nothing. Yeah,
it shuts down and gets nothing, and then the peace of mind you get from that too really helps defend against the follow-up push. To now be worrying like, oh, I just lost so many probes, like how did I do that? I'm so dumb, blah blah blah. It's like it can actually throw you off a lot with this follow-up, but the follow-up is still not as quick as I expected. I thought it was only going to have stim, and then you push out while combat shield is finishing. I mean, that's what you usually see, like with any of your, first third pushers and whatnot, but. Balloon's still waiting, still gathering medevacs off of this tech lab starport.
Well, there's some corrections coming from stream from what I said earlier. I had it completely reversed. It was Protoss that was his best race. It was Terran that was his worst in the past.
That does sound more familiar. I just remember like his Terran is always mech.
I just remember him playing versus Jokshan and taking a game. So for me, that was I was like, oh, Terran must be good for him.
Yeah. But as I said, it didn't really matter because it could all change in Legacy of the Void, especially with how Protoss is definitely changed.
Well, Terran's OP now, we know that.
Totally. All
right,
these are the stasis traps that I expected.
This is going to be interesting, though, because it depends on how this gets... Like, the Cyclone's actually going to trigger the first one just due to running up so quickly. But the question is, upon triggering this... Balloon scan a couple of times. If you see the other ones, they're taken care of immediately, and he's relying on these to trap that army. Not to stop them and stall them, but like to buy time. He doesn't have the money or the production right now.
Yeah. That third base was quite hopeful. There's the first stasis trap. I mean, you should anticipate kind of the second one.
He still has a pretty good force, though, with what's left. It sounds silly, but this is quite the number of units.
Definitely cover your tanks. Yeah, there you go. But like I said, like the one on the high ground on the ramp, it's gonna stop them from like immediately like stimming in, for instance. But the tanks in the low ground shouldn't be triggered by it, and they're still gonna shell away.
Triggered.
Really important production. Of course.
Marines are gonna trigger, but that's only 4 Marines, so not a problem. Balloon playing a little bit. I don't blame him tentative because it is like, are there more? But man, the gateway's getting torn down. That's a lot of adepts. They're going to come in for the fight, and the tanks aren't going to have that range because they'll be sitting right in that dead zone, but that's still so many Marines.
Yeah, just have to go for it. I mean, the Marines with not only stim, but combat shields and +1. Like, I don't know if MyuNgSiK can actually hold this, and he's not reinforcing as quickly as he would like, losing all of his gateways.
I feel like the +1 is the most dangerous thing in this situation. He does buy more time with the overcharge, and tanks are still going to be pushing on this, but this is the strength of, like, one-base Terran. It's not the mag-filled accelerators we saw out of reality, but it is still that same strength where you've invested so much. You've got that one up on your opponents. The army supplies have evened up, but MyuNgSiK's already taken so much damage.
Yeah. I think that Balloon might have this, but we'll see what the Adepts can do.
I think the +1's going to be too strong. I mean, even if the Immortal comes out, the Cyclones can kite it. The Marines sit on top of this. Forces the fight, and even if the Adepts didn't, then they would have killed the Robo. He's still going to try and shoot it down. Okay, either way, takes care of so many Adepts. That Immortal can't take on this many Marines. Frees his units from the Phoenix, stims backwards, stims forwards, and Balloon looks unstoppable. GG.
Wow.
Rest in peace, MyuNgSiK. We'll see you next year for Pro League.
Excuse me.
In fairness to MyuNgSiK, though, really quick, guys, like, a lot of StarCraft 2 does revolve pretty heavily around a build, and you can't do a blind build or your typical build order if you don't know what your opponent's race is. This isn't a situation where Balloon queues into the game and says, like, by the way, I'm Terran. Like, MyuNgSiK has no idea, and that's what makes that so tough for a player.
Mm-hmm.
But congratulations to Balloon. So he'll move on to fight what is most likely Symbol in round 3. I'm kind of excited for that. We don't have a lot of amazing matches set up yet, but also alternatively round 3, Choya versus what is likely Sulky could go down, Seed versus Pet or Tails. There's actually quite a few round of 8 matches that look very sexy.
Yep.
But I guess Olivia had to take off today, so we have Crank actually adminning.
Yeah. So I guess that's a message to him about stuff, but I don't know which one we're going to get into next.
Well, we gotta wait for a match to be available first. So
yeah.
What we're gonna do is just take a quick break, guys. Head to commercials, and we'll be a few minutes. We won't take too long, just 2 minutes as always. We never play the full duration of ads, just 2 minutes. And when we return, hopefully one of the other games will have finished up, and we'll have a match ready to go.